this time, we're going to open it up for questions. So all of our instructors are here. I think our staff are all still here. So if anybody has any questions that weren't answered in the chat box, we are happy to address those now. I know that there were a lot of questions about what requirements you need in order to get your certificate. Mark, if you want to just reiterate that about 106 and 24C.
Sure. So in order to get the Technest certificates, you need to either take 106 or CIS 24C. That said, again, the focus of 106 is more about thinking computationally and thinking the way that computer scientists think. And so even if you've taken 24C in the past, it is, I think, a good idea to take CIS 106. But if you want to get the certificate, then the required courses for the certificate, so level 1 certificate is CIS 106, CIS 107, CIS 108, and then Business 68. And then for the level 2 certificate, it's all of those plus Business 82, I think it's 82. And then another course in either data or computer science. So, you know, taking 24A or taking 84 or taking CIS 47. Some other computer science course would be required. So yeah.
So there have been questions in the past about, can you take 106 and 107 and even possibly 108 together? What's the recommendation? And maybe Matt, you want to speak a little bit to that? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, so I almost took 106 and 107 simultaneously, but for some scheduling issues, I didn't. But it's definitely a possibility that you could take both of those courses at the same time. I know a lot of people are definitely looking for online learning opportunities right now. So I think if there were ever a time to fully immerse yourself in both those courses and potentially 108, I think this is definitely a good time for that. And especially with 108, these courses really adapt well to an online learning format because, you know, we're able to all still communicate on Zoom. Most of the things you're working on are going to involve an internet connection. So in the end, I think these are all very doable courses to potentially do 106 and 107 and maybe 108 in the same semester, especially because right now you might have extra time for that.
Mark or Sanjay, is there anything you want to add to that?
I would just say that you know, if you already have a programming background, let's say you're proficient in C or maybe even Python, but it's been a couple of years, then I would say probably taking 107 and 106 at the same time is probably a doable thing. It's a lot easier to take 106 and 108 at the same time than it is to do 106 and 107 at the same time. And the reason for that is that CIS 107, the data science course, it's really two disparate ideas that are being thrown together at once. That is, you know, statistics and computer programming. And so in order to succeed in 107, you really need to be up to speed and proficient in Python, because in order to do the data analysis stuff that Professor Sanjay is going to make you do, you need to you know, feel comfortable writing lines of code in Python. And if you're kind of rusty in Python, or you've never ever written anything in Python, then you're really going to struggle with succeeding in 107. 108, I would argue, now Cecil can, can correct me if I'm wrong, but my gut feeling is that although it is a good idea and it is beneficial to be proficient in Python, I don't think it's nearly as critical to be as proficient in Python as it is for CIS 107. And so for that reason, I think it's probably more doable to do the 106 and 108 concurrently. Although I get a lot of people who try to do 106 and 107 concurrently, and a handful of people who try to do 106, 107, and 108 all at once.
I'll second that, Mark. 108 is a narrow dive in a lot of areas, including Python, including data science, and we cover a little bit of statistics where I think, instead of a deeper dive. So they're very complementary, which means if you take 106 or 107, I'm going to complement that as some part of 108, which means that, it's like killing two birds with one stone, if you will. So it's a good, if you're going to, I think I'm going to second what also Matt said. This is a great opportunity for you to load up. This is just an opportune time to do it, but don't kill yourself. But this one, 108 does cover a little bit of what's in the other two courses.
The other thing about 108 I would mention that you didn't really touch on too much is the project part of it. And so a lot of it also depends on, learning how to become a project manager and learning how to deal with people who may or may not have the same work ethic that you have, and understanding how to do that. So I know that there are students who sometimes struggle with trying to get their final project ready and stuff, so that's.
Exactly. Yeah. And what we try to do in 108 is we try to give you a taste of reality. Again, the job of all these courses is to land you a job. And in the work environment, we try to mimic the work environment as closely as we possibly can in a structured way. So you know what it smells like, what it feels like, what you'll experience, with the objective of being, when you interview, you're interviewing well, and then as you go into a work environment that you work well with others. So and it is challenging for many others, find it quite rewarding and quite beneficial.
Thanks. So there's a few more questions that have been asked. One at the very beginning was about how long it would take to complete the course. And obviously it depends a lot on if you take one class or multiple classes at a time. But typically to get a level 1 certificate, how long does it typically take?
So it is designed to if you are, if you really work at it, you could theoretically do it all in 1 year. Because you could take 106 and either Business 68, or 106 and 107, or 106 and 108 in the fall. And then you could take in the spring 107 and whatever class you didn't take in the fall in the spring. So it is conceivable that you could do all 4 courses in one academic year. It's been my experience that people who succeed tend to do one course at a time, because, well, all of them are, college level intensive courses. CIS 106 is an 18-week class. So the semester normally is only 16 weeks long. We start a week early and we end a week later than the main campus does. Or actually, I guess in the fall, we start 2 weeks early. In the spring, which the spring semester just ended last Friday, the current cohort of Technest CIS 106. The final class for that, the system is still open until Sunday. So we take that extra time, as Lena had mentioned, so that students can get really a firm grasp of Python and of computing. And so because of that, we only offer 106 during the fall and spring, because it doesn't even fit in the regular semester, let alone trying to fit it in the summer semester would be ridiculous in terms of timing, because trying to squeeze an 18-week class into 6 weeks is not a good idea. We have in the past offered 107 during the summer. We're not doing that this summer. It was my experience that it was pretty tough to try to get it all done in that 6 week time frame, and that's why we tend to spread it out. We tend to do it during the fall and spring semesters. The business class, on the other hand, the business class is offered in the fall and in the spring and in the summer, and occasionally even in the intersession.
Thanks, Mark. So there were some questions about the assessment. If they took the assessment, they say a few weeks ago, it may have been the fall, or would it have been the spring one?
It would have been the fall one, because I turned the Google Sheet off on for accepting stuff in the for the fall for the spring. So if you've filled it out within the past 2 weeks, you've filled out the most recent one, and you don't need to fill it out again unless you just can't wait to fill it out again because it was so much fun the first time. Then, I mean, sure.
Yeah. And so next steps, just to reiterate again, once they've taken the assessment, then how do they get enrolled?
Yeah, so when they fill out the assessment, one of the things that you have to make sure that you have on the assessment is you need to have your student ID number. Assuming you have your student ID number, then what will happen is within the next week or two, I'll start to go through it, and I'll send Michael Castro a note saying, here are the people that we want you to enroll, and this is the course that we want you to enroll them in. And Michael Castro, assuming there are no issues with your enrollment, like you have a hold on your transcript, for example, then he will enroll you, and then after that happens, you'll see it in your MyWeb, and it will be you'll be fully enrolled. So that's the basic process.
Thanks, Mark. Are there other questions? I know that there have been some questions about a possible internship. We are going to be talking about apprenticeships beginning at 6:45, and we just want to give people who have already taken the course and maybe didn't want to sit through the rest of the orientation again, a little bit of time to get online if that's what they're interested in. So during the next 10 minutes or so, we can start moving some people into a breakout room if they want to meet with Michael to learn how to get online and register for classes, or get their account, put in their application. We can also give people a quick bathroom or water break, but we will plan on starting back at 8:45. And again, if you have questions, you're welcome to put them in the chat box, and we'll continue to answer them in the next couple minutes.
It was
6:45.
6:45.
Yeah, 6:45. I'm sorry. Does anybody, are they interested in getting into the breakout room with Michael?
So actually, before you do that, Ray just sent a note saying, so this is not like one of those 6-month online coding courses like the ones that are offered by Google. So I can answer that. So the short answer is kinda. The more accurate answer is this. So one of the reasons that that we actually started the Technest program was because we were looking at all of the online coding boot camps and coding classes and stuff that people see all the time, and where they say, you know, come in for 2 weeks and we will guarantee that you will, you know, be an expert in computer programming or whatever it is that they often claim. And the problem with them is that, first of all, they don't. And second of all is that the level of expertise that you achieve from those types of courses are not actually stuff that is actually is necessarily relevant to what business and industry really want. That's one of the reasons why we've partnered with the various different partners that we had, like Great Waters and stuff, is specifically so that we can make sure that we are sticking to the academic rigor that is required, as well as making sure that we are covering the material that industry wants. So, is it like the 6-month online coding courses like the ones that are offered by Google? The short answer is kinda, because a lot of the material that they are using is actually taken from the edX platform, which is where we are receiving a lot of our information, but we are supplementing that with San Jose City College faculty who are also experts in the material. So one of the things I always like to point out is that in, for example, CIS 106, you have Professor Eric from MIT. You have Professor John, also from MIT. Professor John wrote the book. Professor Eric is the talking head, if you will, in doing the lectures. And then you have, well, me. And so, so you have the three of us that are experts in our fields and helping you out with the material. Similarly, same thing with Professor Sanjay, same thing with Professor Cecil. We're all experts in our fields, and we're here to help you out. And unlike, you know, a boot camp where they want thousands and thousands of dollars, we're in it to, you know, help make education. So that's why we're all involved in this. I don't know if Cecil or Sanjay want to add to that, but that's my take.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. I mean, just to sort of, this is Sanjay, by the way, just to, you know, echo, I guess, what Mark said. You know, what you learn, again, in the Python, I used to also teach with Mark the 106 course several years back. I've seen these feels like at least like 3 years back, I think. So both of these courses, like, they provide you with a real, you know, solid foundation, one in Python and the other in computer, and the other in data science. And they are pretty rigorous courses in that, you know, you get to actually, everything is hands-on. You know, you're continuously working, you're continuously interacting with the code, and you are learning, you know, you're getting that practice that you would get in a boot camp, right? So in a boot camp, basically, like I've been to boot camps before, you forget a lot of things. Like when you learn something for like 2 weeks, right? And you're not able to build that contextual awareness. It sometimes takes time, just experience and experiential sort of knowledge, right? You're just like isolated in a vacuum doing stuff. Whereas like we try to like spread it out across a semester. So, I think that what you learn here sticks, for longer. And at the same time, it's also that, pretty rigorous knowledge that you're going to gain, in these subjects during these in these courses.
Yeah, I would. This is Cecil, by the way. I would absolutely agree. What we've tried to do, and I mentioned this earlier, is to construct a course that meets the academic rigor required, per the institution, but also inject some of the realities of working. I mean, again, our goal. We have multiple goals, although one of them is to close what is called the skills gap, and we all know people that are heavily degreed but are unable to find gainful employment in their trade. And what we're finding is a lot of those people haven't developed actual skills. So that's why we use an application of multimodal type of teaching. So which includes hands-on, which includes working with other people, because no matter what you're doing in any technology job, you will be working as teams or a part of a team or we leading a team. And so we try to mimic as many of those things as we can. So I think we are unique. There are many companies, organizations taking different views of how to teach technology simply because there are not enough people in the pipeline to hire that know what they're doing. And but I think we're taking a unique hack at it in that we try to closely match what's real and actually will occur in a workplace. And of course, try to apply the theoretical knowledge in the case of 108, 8 different areas of knowledge, not from a deep perspective, but also from a very cursory, how does it all fit together, contextualize, which is so important for you to understand how it works. Now, you can always look this stuff up and take a deeper dive, which we encourage you to do. But at least you know how to connect the pieces, I think, when you finish these courses.
A couple of, I don't know if everyone saw the chat, but a couple of people have asked about, the cost of the program, and it's just the regular cost for a regular course at City College, because that's what these are. These are regular courses at City College. And so I just looked up the number. It is $46 per unit. So a 3-unit class is $138. Now, if you are an international student, then or a non-California resident, it looks like it is a $288 per unit tuition. It looks like. So again, but again, that would be a question for admissions and records. I've put the link on. I put the link on the on the website. I mean, on the chat. So Ray asks, will we be fluent in coding and ready for a job in coding upon receiving the certificate? Well, in order to receive the certificate, it means you will have taken CIS 106 and CIS 107 and CIS 108 and Business 68. So I would say yes, at that point you will be fluent in coding and ready for a job in coding upon receiving the certificate. If you only take CIS 106, I would say you are going to know enough to be dangerous, and you are going to know enough to get an entry-level job in programming. Most entry-level jobs in programming involve quality assurance, looking at other people's code and figuring out why other people's code isn't working the way that the other people thought it was supposed to work. And you will definitely know enough how to do that. After taking the data science course, you'll be more expert in programming because you'll have to do more programming. And again, after taking 108, you'll be even more expert in it. So, as with everything, it kind of depends on how much work you put into it.
Yeah, and fluency in coding, so programming is like speaking, you're trying to learn a language, right? I mean, how hard is it to get fluent in a new language that you're trying to write, you're trying to learn, right? I think it's the exact same analogy. It's like a sport, it's like a language. To be fluent is going to take time. I mean, I've done this for 21 years and I'm still not fluent. Okay, I still have to go online, look up things, and sometimes work my way to figure out how to solve problems. I think like I just don't want to make sure that you're going off with the wrong expectations. But I think what you will learn is basically you'll get a strong foundation, right? That will teach you about the concepts of computer science, the concepts of programming, the various concepts. Like think about it, learning a language, you learn the grammar really well, right? You learn how to use the grammar, but at the end of the day, becoming fluent is basically a function of how much time you spend practicing and writing code, right? The class will certainly help you. Will give you a lot of exercises. With 107, definitely there's a ton of exercises that you're going to be working off. So it'll improve your fluency in the language. But again, you have to also pick stuff up, like outside projects and other things, and start hacking your way, working your way through it, in order to get more of that, just that experiential knowledge, right, that you build that will make you fluent. So the best analogy is like it's like learning another language, like learning a foreign language. It's very similar to that. You get more fluent the more time you spend speaking that language. In the same way, once you have the solid foundational understanding, then you get more fluent in programming by basically programming.